Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Ward 6 Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting. We'll be starting the meeting at 5:30 p.m. If you'd like to give public comment on today's agenda, please fill out the public comment form up front and return it to me. Chair, it's 5:30. If you'd like to call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Callie. I will call this meeting to order. Please call roll and verify the presence of a quorum.
Did you want to start with the pledge?
I did.
Okay.
You're right. Councilmember Anderson, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Okay. Callie, can you please call roll and verify the presence of a quorum?
Sure thing. Bradford Conway,
Present.
Tyler Hinman, Julia Moreno Fritz,
Present.
Kimberly Rossiter is absent at this time, but she let me know she is on her way. So I will let everyone know when she has joined the meeting. Sarah Collins, Alina Johnson,
Present.
Bill Newman Jr.
Present.
We also have Councilmember Anderson and Council Liaison Jennifer Alvarez. We have a quorum of the Ward 6 Neighborhood Advisory Board. I also just want to remind our board members to unmute your mics and speak clearly into your mic throughout the meeting. Thanks.
All right. Moving on to item A2, opening public comment. Callie, do we have any public comment?
I do not have any public comment registered under this item. Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the NAB's agenda. The NAB may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you are called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The time will begin when you say your name and you will be afforded 3 minutes. If you are an attendee in the Zoom meeting and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand at this time. I am not seeing any hands raised for public comment.
Okay, then that moves us on to we are going to move item A3 to the further down the agenda. So we are going to move on to item A4, which is going to be the approval of the agenda.
So for the board, we'll move item A3 to after the business items, just for clarification.
Yes.
I want to let the board know that Kimberly Rossiter has joined the meeting.
Hi, Kimberly. Okay, so on item A4,
We just have that one change, moving item A3 after item C1.
yes. Okay. And then we do need approval of the minutes, item A5.
We need to do a motion for item A4.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
So do we have a motion for approval of the agenda, 6th of October, 2025?
I motion for approval.
Alina Johnson,
I'll
second.
second.
Make sure you're stating your names for the record.
Brad Conway, I will second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. A5, approval of minutes from September 4th.
We did have one correction here. The minutes that were first uploaded stated that the chair's terms would run through June of 2026. We're going to revisit elections in January, just to set at the beginning of the calendar year. So there's a corrected version online. That's the only change to the minutes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 4th meeting.
Brad Conway, second.
Tyler Hinman for the record, I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
Okay, item A6, council liaison report. That would be you, Miss Councilmember Anderson.
That's me. Hello. Hi. Thank you for being here tonight. I don't have any future agenda items to announce, but I wanted to say that over the weekend, we had our fall cleanup event. It was at Brown Elementary. There was, I think the final number was around 120 people that came, which is far less than the 400 in the spring. I think the fall is just a little less urgent for people to get rid of their items, but I wanted to let people know that we are so grateful for Heroes Environmental for coming and taking care of the e-waste and the haz waste. That was a big deal. When people at the event knew that they were there, they came back a few times to get rid of their things. So I think that is definitely a huge asset is having Hero Environmental there so that we can get rid of the things that are they cost the most when you go and dump them at the dump. And the week before we had the community, let's see, what is it? Our groundbreaking ribbon cutting at the Damati Ranch Park for our new strength training system that we put in, and it's going to be really well received for the rest of the month. We're going to have a trainer there at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays for 1 hour to help people figure out how to use that equipment. So we're excited about that. We're excited to hear about what's going on with the rest of Damati Ranch Park. And thank you guys for being here in our second meeting.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Anderson. Moving on to our next agenda item, which I believe is going to be A7, staff liaison. Anything to report?
Yes, thank you. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a handy dandy presentation this time, if I can get it to open. There we go. All right, staff liaison Callie Shy for the record. I want to start with turning your attention to an engagement opportunity that's happening in a couple weekends. I think Councilmember Anderson brought this up a couple weeks ago, but there's a junior park ranger program event happening October 18th at Huffaker Park. If you're interested, there's a link there that'll take you to more information about the park ranger program, but that is open to residents of all ages if anyone on the board or members of the public are interested. I also wanted to provide Reno Direct's contact information for the board and members of the public. Reno Direct is a great service that the city of Reno provides that just helps residents with any service requests that you might have. I'm going to kick it over to Jennifer Alvarez, our council liaison, for an announcement.
Jennifer Alvarez, Council Relations Liaison for the record. I just wanted to check in and make sure that everyone received my email regarding the Public Safety Center tour. Once I get a response from everyone, then I can move forward and arrange dates with RPD. So as soon as we hear back, we can get that going. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Any other updates from staff?
I've got a lot, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Bu-
Okay. keep
buckle
going.
up. I wanted to remind members about responding about your attendance for meetings. Thank you to everyone who responded. We got full response this time, so that was great. Moving forward, I'll add a little bit about this later, but verifying quorum will be part of the board secretary role. It's nothing too daunting. It's just that ideally about 48 hours before the meeting, the board secretary will check in with me, see if we've received a quorum, and if not, you'll just reach out to a few of those members who haven't responded yet. It can be a little bit taxing to reach out to multiple members of the board, so this is just going to help me and help us all be successful. So thank you to everyone who confirmed their attendance. Seeing as everyone here is very new to the NABs, I wanted to make sure you all knew about the city's newsletters. If you click on this sign up link or follow the kind of pathway near the bottom of the screen, it'll take you to these email newsletters. These help you stay informed about your community, including news, events, and updates specific to your ward. So that Ward 6 newsletter, I believe most of you should be subscribed by now because that's where I send the NAB agendas and in preparation for these meetings. But there's two others, the city council agendas and the development projects that are usually pretty helpful, and I'll expand on those more a little bit later. Okay, some board membership updates. So I want to give some information on the board secretary role. So I mentioned that the board secretary will be responsible for verifying quorum with me. Nothing too taxing, just making sure we have a quorum before the meeting. The other primary role of the board secretary is to take the minutes for the meeting. So that starts today. We don't have a contracted minute taker for this meeting. I hope it's not as daunting as it sounds. The board secretary would be working with me to create the minutes before every meeting, starting at the next one, and I'll reach out to the board secretary tomorrow. I'll provide a minutes template for you to fill out. And if you reference the draft minutes attached to this agenda, you'll see they aren't too in-depth. They're not pages and pages and pages long, but that's something that we can talk about further. If you have any questions, we'll just wait till the end of this presentation to let me know. Some of the other boards and commissions have an annual report requirement. That's not the case for the NABs. We do a little bit of different reporting. In other board news, there are 6 vacancies on this board. So if there are any members of the public, anyone you know who's interested in serving and getting involved, point them to the boards and commissions page at reno.gov/boards. It's just super, it's a very new interface. It looks really great and it's super easy to apply. And we also have 2 of those 6 vacancies are alternate member vacancies. Okay, some other additions from the new boards and commissions resolution. The first one is the project work review worksheets, which you all have in front of you or have received the online copy. The project you'll be reviewing tonight is going to the Planning Commission next Wednesday on October 15th. So the timeline for this worksheet is ideally by the end of the week. That timeline will fluctuate a little bit just as we see kind of the timing between projects and how fast things are coming up, but we'll talk about that. Hope to be as flexible as possible with that. The other requirement that the resolution adds is having one board officer provide public comment on behalf of the NAB at all future public hearings for each development project. This doesn't mean you have to go to the meeting in person or you have to join via Zoom. You can write written public comment and submit it to the meeting. This can be the chair, the vice chair, or the secretary, or it could be all 3 of you. Other NAB members are more than welcome to submit public comment. This is just a requirement for the board officers. And this public comment is not necessarily your specific comments or feelings on a project. It's more about summarizing the discussion of the NAB. What were their concerns? What good points did maybe the public bring up? And how did the overall discussion go? I'll take a little breather. Are there any questions? Okay. I've included the kind of modes of public comment there. I'll keep this this slide in future meetings so that everyone can continue to reference it. Okay, so I am going to try to take the time each month, each meeting, to cover a new sort of topic. So what we're going to talk about today is how to kind of track a planning project through its life cycle at the city. So all of the development projects we see here are run through the Development Services Department. So they start with intake. Intake happens twice a month on the 2nd and 4th Monday of each month. The application is submitted and then planning reviews it for completeness, and they either accept it or they reject it. Once it's accepted, the project is scheduled for a NAB meeting like it is today and for a hearing, either the City Council or the Planning Commission. And the Planning Department sends courtesy notices to the property owners, the NAB, and other affected property owners. So if you've ever received those small quarter sheet pink cardstock mailers, those are the courtesy notices. So during the intake process, members of the public can access project information from the development projects newsletter and the permit portal. So let's take a look at the development projects newsletter. Maybe some of you are already subscribed to this and you've seen it before, but it highlights proposed development projects. It's sent after each intake to the city departments, external agencies, and members of the public who are subscribed. It provides identifying project information, so the case number, hopefully you can see my cursor, the case number and the case name up here. It provides some property information, important dates for meetings, contact information, and the description right here. It also has a really convenient button that takes you to the permit portal to view the application, and a button to submit comments if you have early feedback. Yes. I think I have subscribed to you, but I will take a look. Yeah. Yes, and any of the members of the board, if you do not want to be subscribed, just let me know. I'll have everyone who wants to be subscribed can actually follow this link. this sign up link right here, it'll take you right to it, and it'll take you to the page with all of the newsletters. So if there's multiple city newsletters you want to be there's so many. I would take a look there. I would give it a go at subscribing, and if you're having trouble, let me know. I think I believe most of you are subscribed, but maybe that's not the case. But yeah, okay, let's move on from that. Okay, the next step is the review process. So once accepted, the project is routed to other city departments, building, fire, engineering, and external agencies. So RTC, NDOT, Washoe County Health, any of those. Then like tonight, the applicant or the representative will present to the NAB, and the planning department will collect public feedback. This includes the project review worksheets that you're all going to complete for this project we have on the agenda tonight. Throughout the process, documents are uploaded to the permit portal, which kind of looks like this. It's the One Nevada Regional Licensing Portal. This is where you'll find business licenses, building permits, code enforcement cases, and planning cases. So you can search by address, you can search by project case number, you can search by parcel number. So you'll find project information, records, and contact information. So in this case, I've searched the project we have before us tonight. The first thing that will pull up is this top image. It includes the record details, so contacts, who owns the property, and the project description that the planner has put in. If you navigate over to record info, you can view a couple different things. You can view the record details, which is this top one right here. You can view the processing status, so you can see where in the stage the project is. And then what I think is most helpful for a lot of people is the attachments. So when you click on the attachments, you'll see all the files that have been uploaded. And if you click on these blue highlighted file names, that'll automatically download it. So if you're looking for the application, you'll look under project type, see application, and then click on the name, and that'll download it to your computer if you're looking for other files associated with this specific project. So that's the permit portal. And then I wanted to point everyone to the NAB newsletter. Hopefully you're all receiving it by now. You should be subscribed. But we send this out approximately 3 business days before the meeting after the agenda is posted. There you can view the agenda and register for the Zoom meeting. And if you click view the agenda, it'll open the HTML agenda, which also includes the link to register to the Zoom. And that's where you can find all the meeting information. When you receive this, this newsletter, if you haven't already, this is a great time to email me and let me know if you'll be at the meeting. Maybe you've already told me you're going to be at the meeting, but you realize, oh, I'm not going to make it. This is a great time to let me know. It's a couple days before the meeting, and since we always meet on Mondays, it's the week before. So that's a good opportunity to take. Okay, we're halfway through. So once the project has been reviewed, it's going to get scheduled for a city council or a planning commission meeting. And the planning department is going to work with the applicant to fulfill the legal noticing requirements. So this includes mailing the legal notices to that same group of people that got the courtesy notices. So these are about half-page, yellow, thick cardstock mailers. They're mailed out about approximately 10 days before the meeting is held to give everyone sufficient notice. Additionally, the applicant will post a physical notice at the project location. So if you've seen those large yellow signs that say public notice at the top, that's them. Those go for planning commission and city council. I believe they both use the large yellow notices. And lastly, an ad is published in the Reno Gazette Journal. So there's a lot of different places that the project is posted. Once again, you can follow the progress and find the records on the 1NV portal. And coming back to that development projects newsletter, the bottom of the newsletter always includes a list of upcoming planning projects at the next meeting. So this is the newsletter, I think, from August. So it shows the projects that are coming up, and all of those projects are hyperlinked. So if you click on those links, it's going to take you to the 1NV portal, so you can view the application and associated documents. And then there are links to submit comments for each hearing. Okay, hearing and decision. So a few days before the meeting, just like a few days before the NAB meeting, the agenda is distributed via a newsletter. I'll show you what those look like on the next slide. City Council and Planning Commission meetings are broadcast live on YouTube, so you can always watch them there if you decide not to join the live Zoom feed. And then the final decision letter is uploaded to that 1NV portal within 24 to 48 hours after the meeting. So if you haven't seen it before, this is the city's meeting portal. It's reno.gov/meetings. This is the hub for all meeting materials for any and all boards and commissions. So every board and commission, Parks and Rec, Arts and Culture, they're all posted here. You can also view past meetings. So if you wanted to see the agenda for a past meeting, they're also included on that page. And all of the associated meeting materials, the agendas, the packets, the HTML agendas. I always recommend viewing the HTML agendas. Those are the ones that stay online and don't download to your computer. It's really handy and really easy to find attachments there. So I recommend using those because they're very user-friendly. Okay, those newsletters I mentioned, these are the City Council Agendas newsletter and the Planning Commission Agendas newsletter. So I recommend you sign up for these if you want to be notified about what's happening at City Council or Planning Commission. They're very similar to the NAB newsletter, so you can view the agenda, you can register for the Zoom meeting and provide public comment. I will note, if you subscribe to development projects, you're going to get the development project newsletters and the Planning Commission newsletter. They are mailed to the same group. So if you want one, you're going to get both. But like I said, those include information on submitting public comment. And once you click on the agenda, it'll take you to the meeting portal and you can find the link for the live broadcast pretty easily there. Okay, that was a lot of information. I've condensed where to find all of it on this page. So I'm happy to include this on future staff liaison presentations. I will most likely look into uploading this as a separate resource on the board and commission page so that you can just find all that information there. I have 2 more resources for you. The last one is the land development projects page. Say you are like, if I get another email, I'm going to go crazy. I do not want 3 more newsletters coming to my inbox. This land development projects page is great because the planning department uploads the links to all of those development project newsletters for the past year. So if you want to look and you're like, oh, there was an intake last week, great. You can open the link and take it there without getting it sent to your inbox. It also provides an updated list of rejected applications that you can see. And a link to submit early feedback directly to planning. I will note that the link on this page is very good for providing early feedback during the review process. The link that I provided earlier, the reno.gov/PC public comment, is more of a comment link for planning commission meetings. But regardless, wherever you send it, it's going to get included in the final project documents. The last resource is the community development zoning map. This is on the city's website. If you follow that path down below, reno.gov to government, departments, development services, GIS maps, and the community development map. So this is a city zoning map. Ward 6 is highlighted in kind of this red shaded boundary here. But it's a really good resource for understanding the zoning in your community and the city as a whole. I recommend you take a minute or 2 to explore the map. And let me know if you have any questions on how to explore that map and how to find things. That wraps up the training. Thank you for sticking around, even though you didn't really have a choice. But these are some upcoming meeting dates. We've got a council meeting on Wednesday, planning commission meeting next Wednesday, and our next NAB is on the 3rd of November. Does anyone have any questions for me based on all that, especially board secretary role or anything like that?
Okay, nobody has any questions? All right.
Nope. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Staff Liaison Kelly and Jennifer. We appreciate it. Moving on to development projects. I believe we actually have somebody on the agenda tonight, Kelly.
We
Is that
sure
correct?
do. Chair, do you want to read the case name and the
Yes.
case number and name for us?
So it is going to be case number LDC 26-00011, South Valley's parking zoning map amendment. A request has been made for a zoning map amendment from mixed-use suburban zoning to the Parks, Greenway, and Open Spaces zoning district. Do I need to read the entire thing?
No, that's fine.
Okay, didn't think I did. All right.
Do we have the applicant here for this project? Yes, please. Did you just want to address questions or did you have any?
I thought I could just tell you about it real briefly.
Sure. Can you state your name for the record for us?
What's that?
Can you state your name for the record for
You
us?
bet. I'm Greg Lyman. I'm a project manager from Dow. I'm an engineering firm employed by Washoe County. Could we go to the second photo, please? Or second image? So what the county is doing is expanding South Valleys Park. There's currently several ball fields and flat soccer fields and different things going on, but there's more space out here. So the goal is working with the local Little League. Right now, these first two baseball diamonds you see are for Little League softball, for girls softball programs where they're laid out just for that, but can be used for other games as well. What we found in going through the process is that with the city, we were having to do a lot of site plan review and needing more and more and more trees, and it was not, trees are a good thing, but when we lay out a baseball field, you can't have any trees in that diamond, you know, and so we were pushing the trees out and having kind of a picket fence of trees around the baseball field. And we met with the city and said, what's going on? What's off? And they said, well, you're still mixed use development. You really need to switch over to parks and open space so that, you know, the flat field doesn't count against you for the trees. We wanted just it to be open enough that people could sit around the fields and watch the games type of thing. So it's real simple. We're just proposing to change the zoning of these two parcels. There's one at the top of the screen and one at the bottom of the screen, from a mixed use zoning to a parks and open space zoning that will allow us to, you know, put in the fields with the right number of trees, and it will go through the city a little simpler. So real simple. That's the long and the short of it, is just trying to get zoning correct so that we're not trying to prepare all the landscape, all the roads, all the parking as if we were a commercial development that we're a park. Does anybody have any questions?
Chairman Conway, I do. How many acres is this total?
Total is 38 acres and change.
Okay.
So you'll see the darker fields down towards the bottom are what we're proposing now. We have a grant from the Pennington Foundation to fund those two fields, but the goal is to continue working north. There'd be two more baseball fields, there'd be a dog park, and then several flat fields as
Okay.
we work forward and are able to get funding and build it out. So the Little League is fundraising right now, but like I said, the current proposal is just the stuff more in bold, not the grayed out stuff. And but yeah, we're proposing to change the zoning.
And I can greatly appreciate the cost involved here. I was actually speaking with Parks and Recreation at the opening of our fitness park, and the cost of installing a playground amazed me. What's your timeline to build out the entire 38 acres?
It depends entirely on fundraising. So I don't know. We have the first two fields now. And like I said, the Little League's fundraising for the second two fields, but it would be entirely based on,
But you have the
funding.
funding secured for the first two.
yeah,
Okay, what's your timeline to get those first two fields put in?
next summer. So a year from now.
Okay. I'm going to open it up for discussion on the board. Anybody have any questions for our presenter?
Located at?
So
Just by the South Libraries there?
yeah, off the lower left-hand corner of the figure, it's not shown, is where the yellow library would be. But
So this is north of the library?
yes,
And then south is another park there right below, right?
yeah, we kind of call it all South Valleys Park.
Yeah.
It's a big
And so this is
Flex.
completely different than the south one.
Well, I mean, someone could get in and travel from one into the other. There's different games going on. But yeah, this would be, there are no fields there now. It's just an open meadow space. We have been working, we did a project this past summer to get the parking and the roads ready. But yeah, there's no fields there now, if that answers your question.
Yeah, I just want to know quite where it's at. So this could take a while to get this completed according to your plan here.
Well, yeah, if we go out to bid over the winter and then start work when the weather gets nice early next year, they'll build these 2 fields in that summer. But it would take all summer. It'll be fall time before we're done.
Well, you're not building the whole park, just those ball
Nope,
fields.
just the lower 2 that
Yeah.
are more in bold, and everything else that's grayed out is waiting future funding. And maybe off to the left of the side of the page off the figure would be that ice rink, Reno Ice. So we're kind of right behind Reno Ice and north of the library.
To the left
Yes, to the left
is
is
the Reno Ice.
Reno Ice. Then you see Virginia Street far on the right-hand side.
And then what's that street that runs by there by the ice rink down there?
Wedge Parkway.
Wedge,
Yeah.
okay. And was that gonna adversely affect the traffic on Wedge Parkway?
So to mitigate the traffic, you'll see a long road. It's not really in bold, but there's a long road that goes up. It's lined by trees and down to Virginia Street. And so the city is requiring that we put that in with these first 2 ball fields, just to make sure we don't impact the wedge traffic, so that we have another outlet to get cars out of the park.
Thank you.
Tyler Hinman for the record. Knowing the area, just kind of picturing it in my head, I know that there's businesses and houses and apartment buildings in the residential, I guess, to put it simply. Like, doing this project, is there anything that would disrupt the businesses or the homeowners or residents of this area um, during the completion of this project, or is that going to be more out of the way of them to where they won't be affected?
Yeah, this might be kind of a subjective answer, but I think we're out of the way, right? From this park that you see, there's no entrances into any of those. There's a residential area that a mobile home park straight to the north. In the upper left would be the apartments, but all of their entrances are off of Wedge Parkway, and off the picture. So we're able to kind of cordon off our work area and work inside of that. I think we were pretty successful this past summer putting in the parking in the first part of the access road. We didn't have any complaints that I'm aware of anyways. So I think we would continue construction in that manner.
And that was actually my next question, was about parking. I didn't see any on the map. It might be there, just not labeled, or I can't see it. I don't know the whole area too well. But that was gonna be my next question about parking. Like, is there a plan to put more parking spaces available? I do know that there's one at the library that's located there over by the fields. I just wasn't sure if this was gonna be a situation where, if you did this now, there's not enough parking in the area, or if
Sure.
you had a plan to,
that-
put more in, and where would it be?
We added about 100 spaces with our work this past summer. So that was another city requirement, get the parking in before you build the field. A lot of projects go reverse, and then they really get themselves into trouble that way. So it is shaded lightly, but in the lower left quadrant, yeah, whoever's running that mouse, we have parking in that area. There is more parking proposed with this phase, but I'll be honest with you, it's a bit alternate. And so we have enough based on our parking studies to cover these 2 fields, and then and then some extra, some overflow for the existing park is a little short on parking right now. But as we build out the next 2 fields and then the next 2 fields, we keep having to add more and more blocks of parking, I guess. But that's part of our design requirements and our traffic study, which will go into the city. We have not submitted yet. We're waiting for this zoning change to go through, and then we're ready to submit for our building permit, and we'll get reviewed and they'll count up our numbers. But by my calculation, we've got enough, again, to expand the existing park and handle these 2 fields right now already built. And then with each successive field, then we put in a new block of parking.
All right, thank you. That's all from me.
I actually do have a question for you in regards to funding. How are the 2 parks right, or the 2 ball fields right now being funded? You said that and
Yeah.
I missed it. I apologize.
The Pennington Foundation gave us a grant to build these 2 next proposed fields.
Okay.
We built the existing parking with county grant funds. They had obtained a grant for that. And then in the future, we're looking at Little League is fundraising as well as other grants to
Okay.
keep
So
building out.
right now, nothing's coming directly out of the city's budget.
Correct.
Okay. And that's the right answer right now. So I love the project in general. I'm going to say that. I'm a huge park fan. So for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm not a sports guy. But I think we need more green space. And I don't think our parks are utilized to their full advantage. And I think we're working on that, and it's changing. So I'm for this project. And I love the fact that we're getting funding outside of the city budget. We're finding alternate resources for that. And to give you guys an idea, when I was at the opening with Councilmember Anderson of the fitness park, I was talking to Parks and Recreation, and I apologize, Councilmember Anderson, I can't remember that gentleman's name. Nathan, yes. And a playground runs over $1 million, which I think is crazy, but that's what they cost. So to see something like this coming together and us not having to worry about how we're going to get that funding out and leaving it up to the developer is a huge thing. I'm assuming you guys are committed to finishing this project all the way out.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to, but I have to acknowledge it's funding dependent.
It is.
Yeah.
So the spaces up on top right now that are undeveloped, what are they right now? Is that just open field?
Yeah, historically, there were some pasture land through there. There are some weeds and things that have grown, but yeah, they're just open space
Okay, and
right now.
who's going to maintain that?
Currently, the property is owned by Washoe County, so it's their obligation and
Okay.
nothing's changing here.
All right. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Chair, can we check in with our board member online? Julia, did you have any questions for this one?
No, I didn't. I'm good. Thank you, though.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. I forgot you were out there. All right. I think you've answered all of our questions. I will tell you right now, you will be getting a positive report from me, simply because I do believe we need more parks in our area. And you also said dog park, and
Yep.
that's a win for me. There's not enough dog parks in the area. I will tell you, as you're moving forward, one of the things I hear continuously from constituents, and it's nonstop when we talk about parks, is trees. And I know that's a difficult one, because we can't just plant, just for everybody that's listening tonight, or maybe we'll go back and listen to this at a later time or is watching right now, we can't just plant a 25-foot tree. It's not feasible. Or a 30-foot tree, or a tree that's going to give a ton of shade immediately. We have to plant saplings and let them grow. But I do want to see those. Those are going to be a huge impact, I think, to any of our parks and recreation areas. But other than that, and then also when you're doing your dog park and being a dog person, if you could look at having actual turf as opposed to something like the AstroTurf or the mulch.
So the entire park is watered by recycled water from the county. And so we're planning on turf for everything.
I think that's another huge win because that's another thing I hear from constituents a lot. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Thank you.
I'm excited for the project. Thank you. Okay. So, Kelly, I believe if you're keeping me on track here, I'm hoping you are, we need to swing back around to the board secretary now, correct?
We have one more item, just so the board knows, we did not have any public comment for that development project review item, but
Sorry.
we do have our business items next.
You're right. So we have Regional Transportation Commission.
Correct.
Do we have anybody here to present?
Yes.
How you guys all doing? I'm Paul Nelson. I'm the Government Affairs Officer at RTC, and I'll give you kind of an overview of the transportation things that we're doing in Ward 6 down there. So just to talk about kind of what our makeup is, we have a board made up of 5 electeds. 2 are from Washoe County, 1 is from Sparks, and 2 are from the city of Reno. Our chair is Commissioner Alexis Hill, and our vice chair is Councilman Devin Reese. So we do 3 major things at the RTC. One of them is public transportation. We operate the buses and other public transit items. We also do the metropolitan planning in the region, and we also do the engineering and construction of the regional roadways. So starting with public transportation, RTC Ride is our fixed route service, is the backbone of our public transit system. In the last 12 months, we've had, you can see, almost 6 million trips. And that keeps going up year after year. So we're really happy about that. COVID really kind of put a damper on things. And then we had a couple bus driver strikes. So we're starting to see the ridership continue to grow. 60% of the ridership that we have, they're for work trips. So we know that it's important for our economy, for people to get to and from work. And we're really happy that we've seen 37 straight months of ridership growth. So we're over 3 years now, month over month growth. And our fleet is made up of mostly diesel electric hybrids. About 2/3 of our fleet is that. We've also got right around 20 all electric vehicles. And then we've got 8 hydrogen fuel cell buses that we're getting ready to put into operation. So our bus rapid transit, this is one of our biggest successes that we've had in recent years. And that's our 2 lines that go up Virginia Street, the Virginia line, and then the Lincoln line goes down Prater Way and 4th Street. So you can see just how popular these 2 lines are. Virginia line is more than 1 million rides every year. Lincoln line is getting close to 500,000 rides every year. Just those 2 routes out of that almost 6 million that we have for the entire system, 1.5 million rides are on these 2 routes alone. And the nice thing about this is our frequency. About every 10 minutes, you'll see a bus stop at one of these stations. So if you miss the bus, another one's right behind it, 10 minutes. Another important thing that we have is our flex ride system. This is our microtransit. So we've got 4 different zones. One of them, the newest one, is in the South Meadows. So if you, this is kind of our version of Uber or Lyft. So if you live in that bubble right there, you can call and get one of these, and it'll pick you up at your house or at the grocery store, wherever you are, and it'll take you anywhere within that zone. And then it'll also drop you off at a fixed route service station, and then you can take that up, Virginia line or Route 56 or whatever. So this has been really popular. We're seeing a lot more people using it, and it does help people get around town that don't have a car and where we don't necessarily have a fixed route. Some really important programs we have too. One of them is senior taxi rides. $60 a month will go on a card. If you're 60 years old or older, a veteran or a person with a disability, you can apply for this and you can use that $60 every month for taxis or Uber or Lyft until it runs out. And then in the next month, that card auto loads again, and then you got another $60. My parents actually signed up for it because they like to go to the airport, and it's an easy way for them to avoid parking and have to deal with lining up a cab last minute. They can schedule something. Vanpool program is another one This is a carpooling service that Enterprise provides the vehicle. There are subsidies involved where you've got anywhere from 5 to 15 people that live in the same area and work in the same area. They can put a van pool together and it will make the lease of the vehicle a lot less expensive, very affordable for people. We're actually one of the top 10 in the country for the size of our van pool program. And that's because we've got so many people that commute out to the USA Parkway for Tesla or Walmart or all those businesses out there. They're very popular out there. We've also got a lot of people that work down in Carson City, Lake Tahoe, Susanville, Truckee. So it's really popular in this area. 2024, you can see how important this is for the environment and for traffic congestion. We took 20 million vehicle miles traveled off our roadways just in this region. Two programs that we're also doing that we're working on future riders is our EdPass program. This is for our 4 colleges in the area. The biggest one, obviously, University of Nevada. If you're a student or an employee at one of these colleges, you can ride the bus for free. Doesn't matter what line, doesn't matter where you're going, it's free to you. Youth Ride Free, this is a brand new program that we just started up. It's a pilot program. And this allows Washoe County School District kids to apply and they can ride the buses for free. We've seen, last summer we did this program as a trial run. And one of the important things with that was it provided a way for kids to get to meals that the food bank provides. You know, a lot of these students rely on their school lunches, things like that. During the summertime, they don't have that, but they can go to these locations and pick it up. So having free transportation to get that is important. Also, a lot of teenagers have summer jobs. They might not have a car. So this is really valuable for them. One of the reasons that we partnered with the school district on this program was because we want to try to reduce absenteeism and tardiness. So, you know, if there's not a school bus zone in your area, this is a good supplement to get kids to school on time. Planning is the second thing that we do at RTC. And you can see there's a long list of things they do. One of the biggest documents that we work on is the Regional Transportation Plan, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. They do a lot of studies, they analyze different areas, and I'll show you just a few of those. The 2050 RTP, we just completed the update to the 2050 Regional Transportation Plan. This is really our guiding document. Everything that we do road project wise, transportation wise, is in this 20-year plan. We're actually ahead of that 20 years because we're 25 years looking into the future, finding out what do we want our system to look like in 2050? What are the things that are important? Is it public transit? Is it better capacity? Things like that. So we're asking, you know, we ask the public what kind of things do they want to see, and we put it together, and the board approved this latest document back in February. One of the big ones that we're working on right now is also the neighborhood network plan. So this came out of the RTP. What we did is we took the region and we divided it up into 12 different neighborhoods. And we're going to those neighborhoods one by one and finding out what are some things that we can do to make those neighborhoods safer for people to walk, people to ride their bikes. So we scored these, and I don't know exactly how the scoring system worked, but the first 2 we already got done doing. And now we're getting ready to implement some of the things that we're gonna improve. And one of those was number 9, right in the middle of town. And then the second one we did was number 7, that's Central Sparks. Now that we've got those plans done, we're working on implementing those, and we're working on the next 2 plans. And those are number 10 right there. So that's like the Meadowood Mall area, Hidden Valley, and part of that is in Ward 6. So that's an important area for you guys to be aware of. And then the other one that we're also working on right now is number 2 up there. So that's Sun Valley and the North Valleys. Some of the North Valleys. And some of the things that we're looking at doing is, if you look at some of these photos, we've got some short-term projects and some long-term projects. These quick builds are what we call them. These are kind of the shorter-term projects, things that we can implement quickly and for a lot less money than we do some of the long-term programs. And it's simple things like, you know, if you look at that center picture right there, little pedestrian refuge to separate people from the traffic, little makeshift roundabouts that we can put around town, different kinds of things, the bulb out right there on the top left. And then there's some other things that we can do to make biking a lot better. So you can have, you know, these these dividers on the cycle paths, These armadillos up on the top right, they don't look like much, but from what I understand, they don't feel very good if you run over them in a car. So it's things that we can do to make things a lot safer for people if they want to walk or ride their bikes around their neighborhoods. So engineering, this is where we do all of our regional road construction projects. We do a lot of the signals. We work on the signals. When we do these projects, we have a complete streets approach where we go in and we try to not just look at how do we make the road better for drivers, but we want to make it better for everyone, no matter what mode of transportation you're using. One of the things that I want to point out is just last year, the investments that we made into construction projects provided 2,700 jobs. So one of the ones that we do every year is the pavement preservation program. And there's 3 ways we do that. This is the ways to keep our good roads good. The easiest and least expensive one is preventive maintenance. And the pictures you see right there, this is up in Sparks. That's where you can go in, you do some crack sealing, some patching, and then you put a slurry seal over the top of it, restripe it. It makes the roads last a lot longer, and it's about 10 times more. If we just let the roads fall apart and crumble, it costs 10 times more to replace them. So this is a way to treat the roads, keep them in good shape. That way we don't have to come down and fix it and spend a lot more money in the future. Corrective maintenance is another form that's a little bit more money, but it's basically replacing that top layer of asphalt, laying a new layer down, and then you're good to go again. And then the rehabilitation, that's where we go in and we basically do a reconstruct of the roadway. So one of those rehabilitation jobs we did was right here at Meadowood Mall. So there's 3 short streets that take you into the mall property. So we call it the Meadowood Mall Circle Rehabilitation. You can see the before and after pictures there. These roads were in really rough shape, so we went in and completely redid those roadways. Now they're brand new and we're good to go again for what, another 25 years? Of course, we will have to do some maintenance on those to keep the roads lasting that long too. Also in Ward 6, one of the big ones that we're having right now is the Veterans Roundabout modifications. This one, we're actually way ahead of schedule. We plan on having this one completed by mid to late December. And we're looking at now possibly having it finished by the end of the month or in November. So the crews are really doing a really good job on this. They're actually going to start paving tomorrow. So things are really ahead of schedule. There will be some improvements, not just to increase improve the capacity of the roundabout and to make things flow a lot better. You can see the slip lane that we're going to build is kind of similar to the one that we're doing at Neil Road has. So if you're going up Geiger grade, you don't even have to go into the roundabout. You just bypass it and you go up that way. So we'll start paving that tomorrow. And we're also going to make a lot of pedestrian improvements. There's going to be some flashing yellow lights so that pedestrians can cross in this area a lot better. And we're really happy that we're ahead of schedule on this one. Arrow Creek Wedge Parkway rehabilitation. This project is moving along really well. We just got done paving the Arrow Creek part of this project, and now we're starting on the Wedge Parkway. So if you look at that map right there, you can see the 2 roads where we're doing this rehabilitation job. It's not just pavement that we're doing. We're also doing some drainage improvements, some sidewalks, some ADA improvements. Some of the intersections, there'll be some improvements. So there's a lot of good things happening with this project, and that's moving along well. I think the Wedge Parkway, the last time I saw was we had a mid-November, Dale? I think it's like mid-November to complete Wedge Parkway, and then we'll be done with that one. Another one that we have coming up in 2026 is our Virginia Line BRT improvements, and there's 3 main things that we're doing right there. That first picture that you look at, it's kind of a miniature BRT station. We're going to replace those with full-size BRT stations like the one you see on the middle picture and the right picture. The second thing that we're doing is when we first built these BRT stations, we were using bigger buses, and the platforms are a lot higher because we're using those bigger buses. Now that we're using these standard size buses, the platforms are too high. So we're going to trim those down. That way the ramp can come down and be flush. So that'll make things a lot better for people in wheelchairs to get on the buses. It'll also make things better for people to avoid tripping hazards when they're getting on and off the bus. And then finally, on the right-hand side, we're going to be having a bus-only lane that we're going to be putting in between Peckham Lane and Plum Lane. So that'll just help, speed up that route. There won't be as much traffic for the buses to deal with. And we won't have to take away any traffic lanes to do that either. So that's a positive. Another future project we have is Steamboat and Rio Wrangler roundabout. So if you look at that right-hand picture right there, that currently is a four-way stop. And this will be a roundabout that will be a lot kind of like what we're building right now at Veterans. So you can see you'll have a free right turn if you're going from Steamboat down to Rio Wrangler, or also if you're going from south on Rio Wrangler and turning right onto Steamboat. And then you'll have that roundabout right there. This is part of a project that we looked at from Steamboat Parkway all the way down to Western Skies, and looked at different ways that we can improve the circulation of traffic in this area. We know it gets really busy, especially this time of the year in the mornings and the evenings when the high school kids are going to school and getting off school. So we're looking at a lot of different ways that we can make improvements on that project. And I think if you have any questions more about this, I think Dale might have some answers for you. And then another future one is the Geiger grade realignment. So that map you see on the right-hand side right there, what we're looking at doing is building a new road that would cut through basically where Toll Road is and connect it over to Old US 395 south of where the Summit intersection is right now. So that roundabout we're having will have even less traffic because people can cut across and go over to Virginia Street. We know there's also development that's happening down there. So with all the development that we do see in South Reno, this is a good way to allow cars different paths to go, where there's evacuation routes. There's really one way in and out right now. So this will allow extra evacuation routes as well. So we're still in the early phase of this. We're looking at doing this in the next few years though. And some current studies we're doing. I like to talk to all the NABs about this, even though this is far away from South Reno. A lot of people work out at USA Parkway. And anyone that works out there knows the chaos that happens on I-80 when there's a snowstorm or when there's an accident. So we're looking at possibly building another road that would connect USA Parkway to Spanish Springs. There was also an NDOT study that looked at, connecting South Meadows Parkway over to USA Parkway. That one is a lot more expensive. So we're looking at the more feasible option would be that north road, just to take some of that traffic off Interstate 80. The other thing we're doing right now is we're in the middle of a study right now, a commuter rail feasibility study, to see if there's a way that we can connect people that work out at USA Parkway to get on the train at Reno and Sparks, and then commute out to USA Parkway and the Tri-Center by getting on the train. So we're hoping to have the results of that study here in the next month or so. And next time I come back, I can share the results on that. So there's different options that we're looking at to try to alleviate some of the issues that we're seeing on I-80. Revenues. We've got several different buckets of money that we get. We get federal money, local money. That's our biggest share. We get some from the state. We get some from passenger fares. And I'll get into some of those. If you look at this chart, this is our revenues. You can see the bulk of it, 40%, 118 million, comes from our local fuel taxes. So every time you guys go to the gas station and you gas up, that money goes right back into the roads, and it has to go to the roads. The fuel taxes, by law, when you guys pay those fuel taxes, that goes to the roads. Another one, federal funding, $104 million. So we do get some funding every year, formula funding from the federal government. We also apply for some of our discretionary grants. And we've been pretty successful in the past few years of getting some funding, $25 million, for instance, to realign Lemon Drive. So we're constantly looking at the different options for grants and seeing if we've got projects that align with those. And then we apply, and hopefully we can get more federal funding down. And you can see sales tax, that goes to our transit system. And we get some other smaller ones. RIF, that's another one. That's when a developer comes in and they build a community. Every unit that they build, they pay a fee, and that has to be used to add capacity because of the stress that they're putting on the road system by building there. So we use that funding to improve capacity after development comes in. When you look at the expenses now, you can see capacity improvement projects is our largest share. That's, if you look at, trying to think of one right now, Mill Street. Mill Street is one of those capacity projects improvements. We're doing that right now. We also have MPO operating. So that's really our staff and things like that, our ride operating. We do have some debt that goes back from when we built Veterans Parkway. We've got the pavement preservation and multimodal projects. So you can see that we use all of this funding in different ways. And we've been doing a pretty good job of making sure that we keep our roads in good condition and make improvements when we need to. And then I put this slide on here because I think this really kind of shows how much people actually pay in fuel tax. When you go to the gas station and you see that we're paying a lot more than people in Carson City or in Fernley are paying, people are like, why are our taxes so high? And it is high when you go to the pump. But when you look at it, what the average person pays every year, and you compare it to the other fees and taxes that you pay, it's actually pretty small. So on average, RTC fuel tax is about $195 per vehicle, $709 for your sewer system. So it costs a lot more money to flush your toilet and to take a shower than it does to pay for your roads. If you look at the water, 845, power. So when you add up all the different fees and taxes, ours is actually fairly small when you look at it in comparison. And I'll take any questions.
Tyler Hinman for the record. I did have a couple of questions, like I guess getting more information with how some of these projects work. First of all, I want to say appreciate fixing the roads at Meadowood Mall Circle and that area. I know that area tends to wreak havoc on some people's cars, given the way that it was right here too. I did have a question. So I forgot what you called it exactly. It was like the micro public transportation.
Micro transit, flex
Yeah.
ride.
I know that you said that the senior ride gets like a $60 a month subsidy for that. Does that cost people anything to do that, or is that like also subsidized? Because I do know when you take public transportation, like on the bus, it's I mean, I don't know if it's still like $1 or like if it's probably
I
more,
think
but
it's $250 a ride, or it's $3 for a day pass. I
okay.
think that's what it is.
All right, perfect. And the youth ride you also said was free, and for the van pool, what would that cost people as well?
So it varies, but when you consider, let's say you're leasing a car and it would normally cost $700. Well, Enterprise is going to provide the vehicle. They provide a subsidy, I think right around $200 or something like that. Then the RTC will provide a subsidy, and that's right in that same range. And then your employer can also provide some of that payment. So if you look at it, you could get maybe up to, I think it's $500. It could be like $500 off of your lease. It's a pretty good deal. I'm not sure exactly on those numbers. It's been a while since I looked at those, but when you add up all the different subsidies that you can get by having this van pool program, also the maintenance is provided, so you don't have to deal with that. The driver, the person that's actually in charge of that car can also use it for personal reasons, but I think it's 80% has to be used for work. So the other 20% you can use it for running errands and things like that. Does that sound right?
And this is like somebody's personal car that they can sign up for this program?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be used for carpooling. You have to have a group of people as a part of that. It has to be 5 to 15 people. So the more people you have, the bigger vehicle you have to have, obviously. But yeah, there's the one person that they decide is going to be the driver, and they are the ones that are in charge of all that.
Okay. And I do see that you have a lot of projects in the planning, currently doing a lot. I did notice that it looks like it said 35.3% of your funding came from the federal government. And I mean, this might sound like a weird question to ask, but I know that the government currently is shut down, unfortunately. Are you guys suffering any setbacks currently with getting grants, or like, are you okay for now, depending on how long this goes on?
So the government shutdown right now is not affecting us. Luckily, the USDOT is pre-funded basically. So they're not shut down. Right now, they're one of those agencies that they're still operating. We have seen them even prior to the government shutdown. They used to have a lot of grants that were available. They still have them, but they pulled them back to review them to see if they meet I guess, kind of what the Trump administration is looking for in these grants. So there are some that they're reviewing to find out what they want to change on the priorities, and then hopefully bring those back out for us to apply for. So there has been some shakeup in terms of that.
Okay. All right. That's all from me.
Brad Conway for the record. Mr. Nelson, I've got a couple of questions for you. I'm actually glad you're here tonight. A couple of things you mentioned that I was really impressed with. Evacuation routes. You can't say enough about that. The fire danger right now is phenomenal, and I think we're all starting to experience that, especially down in South Reno. Roundabouts. You know, it's funny, if you ask somebody about a roundabout, they're going to tell you how much they despise it. I was talking to somebody the other day who literally told me they could not figure a roundabout out. And it amazes me because it doesn't confuse me at all. I just get in them and get out of them and I'm fine. So I don't know what the rest of the board's thought on that is.
We just redid that one.
They just, yeah, it was just in the news.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking. Assume it's better, but that was every
Yeah.
other roundabout I know.
I've never had a problem with them. I've never seen anybody, I find them, they're great for traffic calming. And I think that's important. Are there any plans, you know, one of the things we've seen time and time again that comes in front of a city council is the McCarran Loop. And it's problematic and in so many ways, and there's so many accidents on it. Are there any plans to put a route that just covers the loop?
Like a bus route?
Yeah.
Right now, we're doing our transit optimization plan strategies, which we do it every 3 to 5 years. And that's when we take a look at our transit system as a whole, like everything that we do, whether it's fixed route or access or flex ride, van pool. We look at every single thing that we use with public transit, and we look at what we can do to improve it and make it more efficient. I don't think that having one on McCarran would be probably part of that. It's based on ridership. Where are people getting on the buses and where are they going?
Okay.
Right now, I don't know if McCarran would be part of that. I think there are some areas along McCarran that there may be bus stops, but yeah, there's no plans right now to have a bus that just goes around the loop.
And I think it might just be an opportunity that we have to work together to solve an ongoing problem. That we could all come together and work as a unit. Finally, I'm going to be reaching out to you personally regarding Offenhauser, which I understand. I actually had turned it in to Reno Direct, and turns out it's under your authority. And it does need to be restriped, but we also need to move the parking on Offenhauser. It's on the wrong side of the street. So right now, all of that parking is utilized by the people that live across the street. So they're having to cross the street after they park, which is causing a public safety hazard. So I want to make sure I can get with you. Are you the right person to talk to about that?
Dale, do you wanna answer that?
Yeah, good evening. Dale Keller, Deputy Executive Director at the RTC. We can look into that further and work with City of Reno and their staff about the parking and striping on Offenhauser.
Offenhauser, they
Offenhauser,
told me it was under your authority, and that it's actually due to be restriped sometime in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
And
let's talk offline and we can.
yeah, that's
see what we
if you can make sure that one of the staff members has your contact information, and I'll just reach out to you on that one.
Great.
As a separate item. I don't want to type the board with that. Does anybody else on the board, Julie, I know you're still out there. Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
I do. Board Member Johnson, for the record. Hi, Paul. I enjoyed your presentation. Thank you so much. A couple of questions or comments. One is that the youth writing program is very meaningful to me. I used to work for a foster home, and having state funds, which were very limited. He also had pretty severe disabilities. It made a big difference. It would make a big difference. I mean, this happened later. I haven't been there in a while, but every penny that we could save us or his household. It was just one child. It was a minor, and he lived basically on his own. He had 2 direct staff members helping him, being his family basically, and every penny that we could help him save was very meaningful. So that's I appreciate that a lot. It does make a huge difference for people, for children, for youth. So it's very important.
Yeah, and one of the things with that I didn't mention is it's, we didn't put this in place just because of absenteeism, but this also gives kids an opportunity to do extracurriculars, whether they're doing sports or if they're doing band or choir or something like that, after school activities. This gives them that transportation so that they can actually do that. And for us, some people ask, well, this is costing us money. It's actually not, because our bus costs the same to run regardless of how many people are on it.
Right.
The more people are on it, the more bang we're getting for our buck. So we're actually, it's not costing us to allow kids to ride on it. And hopefully, they get used to it and they continue to ride after they grow up.
Yeah, yeah, and we find safety and we learn that I think that culture also starts to change a lot in how we ride the bus and how we see it. So that's really important to me. I appreciate that. He had severe disabilities and he was very high need, emotionally high needs. So it was really important for him to be able to have a little bit of that freedom. He was 16 and couldn't drive. And so there's this whole world of disability people and children and people with mental illness that we sometimes don't even realize exists because they don't have access. Which leads me to the next question. How do ADA improvements get decided in each neighborhood or each place?
So there's a standard. Every time that we do a project, if we're not already up to that ADA standard, then we get it up to it. So for instance, we did Steamboat Parkway last year. That was already up to standard. We didn't have to upgrade it. Some of these other areas that we do, like Arrow Creek, for instance, that was built 30 years ago or something like that. And so we're getting that up to code now. We're getting the ADA facilities up to where they need to be.
Yeah, that's really important. Thank you. And the last question or comment I had was, I don't even know if this goes to you. This morning, I encountered flying ladders on the highway off someone's truck. By a miracle, an actual miracle. I was able to swerve and there was no one behind me. People behind me swerved. I'm sure someone hit it at some point. They weren't secured. Who do I talk to about something like that? This was on 580 going south, so to Carson. A lot of us work in Carson. And that's I don't know if that's our ward, but that's like a lot of us in South Reno go to Carson for work. So it affects mostly our ward.
Yeah, so the highways are NDOT's roads, so they're the ones that are in charge of those. When it comes to enforcement, though, I would assume that it would be the Nevada Highway Patrol.
Right.
They're probably the ones that have to do the enforcement.
And I did talk to them. Yeah, I just didn't know what else that could be done to change that. It was very dangerous.
I think part of the challenge is a lot of people wouldn't know who to call. And so I love that you asked that
Well,
question.
you better
'cause
believe I called 911 for my car and then they patched me.
And a lot of people won't. A lot of people just drive around something like that and not say anything. So I want to thank you for doing something about it.
Well, Brad, we might see it on the news later because I don't know. Somebody might have hit that. It was
Somebody
it was
very
3
well
flying
have.
ladders, just thump. And the person didn't notice. They kept driving.
Or they didn't care about their ladders. I would have probably
They care
cared
about
my
the ladders.
ladders.
They didn't notice. Thank you, Paul, for your presentation and for your answers.
Tyler, did you have something? I saw your light come on.
Well, I did want to comment on the youth riding program. Whatever the cost, I think it would be worth it. I definitely think it gives people more of a chance to do their extracurriculars or have after school or even summer jobs. Speaking from my point of view, I would have really benefited from that growing up because it was very hard to do extracurriculars, especially after school. So having that ride there, I think that would give a lot of people an opportunity to do things that they're interested in because, we all know that, playing baseball or football after school, going to practice, looks good on college applications or being able to have a job to save. I think it definitely would give a lot of people an option. So the fact that that program is out there, whatever the cost, I think it's very beneficial.
And we are looking to expand that also to the charter school students.
Julia, do you have anything?
Nothing at this time. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's fine. Sure, I didn't forget about you. I do have one more question for you, Paul. Do you guys offer free ridership on New Year's Eve?
Yes, that's
Okay.
we have several holidays and special events that we do provide free transit.
Okay, and that's one I want to commend you for doing. Again, I don't drink, but drinking and driving is a very serious offense. It's a very serious problem. And it seems like it's getting worse every year that we're seeing more and more people lose their lives, and it's not necessarily on a holiday. And would you please let the drivers know that we appreciate them putting up with people who have been out partaking all night long and having a good time. We want people to go out and have fun. We want them to drink responsibly. And I think the bus is a great way to do that. And then they can, stumble down a sidewalk.
Sarah Collins for the record. Can you dive a little more into the USA Parkway alternate routes, please?
Yeah, so the one that we're really focusing in on right now is the connection between USA Parkway and Spanish Springs. The problem with that is it's all federal land. So there's two ways to go about doing that. We can either get a lands bill passed, which Congress can't agree on anything. So that's a little bit trickier. There's also some sensitive areas up there in terms of historic from the tribes. There's like petroglyphs and things, so we have to avoid certain areas up there. Another way that we can go about doing it is through the BLM and getting an easement, which would just be like, we're not developing, we just want to build a road here. And we're looking at that right now as probably the easiest route towards getting this built. We know that NDOT does have plans on widening I-80 from Sparks to USA Parkway from 2 lanes to 3 lanes in each direction. We know that that's going to be chaos for people that are going to be commuting during the construction project. So in a perfect world, we would have a new road built before that happens so that people could have that alternate route and then they could avoid that area during construction. There's a lot of work to be done, so we'll see what happens with it.
And then you talked about the rail.
Mhm.
Can you explain that a little more? I know that Panasonic/Tesla bus people, they have that option, but say for the other industrial projects out there, how are they going to be able to get to those projects? Like, where would that hub be on USA Parkway?
I think that's part of the study. I know that some of the companies out there would actually like to extend the rail out to, like for Tesla, if they could extend the rail out there, that would be one nice thing for them. Otherwise, if there are large employers out there that they need to get people, let's say you get dropped off out there at the gas station, somewhere close to there, then they got to get to wherever their job is. And that would probably be something that the employers would have to come up with their own system to get them from the train stop to their employment. There's a lot of details to work out with that. One of the, I don't want to say problems, one of the challenges that we would have with this is we'd be using existing rail that Union Pacific owns. So we'd have to get their blessing. We would have to purchase the equipment. We'd have to hire the drivers. So it's a heavy lift, but it's something that we're looking at. We think that it's an important thing to study. And if things pencil out, we'll see what happens in the future.
Okay, and then also, I'm just going to throw this out there. Due to the recent refinery incident, do you see that impacting the fuel tax?
No, our fuel taxes don't go up and down with the price of gas. It's not a percentage, it's a cent. So if gas is $4 a gallon, you're gonna be paying the same tax as if it was $1 a gallon.
Let me rephrase. Not necessarily in that capacity as a percentage, the fuel supply, because you guys collect fuel tax based on per gallon. If there's a supply issue, we're not going to be able to get that. Am I making, yeah.
So you're wondering if the price of gas is gonna go up because of the refinery? I mean, it seems like if the president sneezes, the gas prices change, so. So we'll see. I don't have an answer for that, but there's a lot of factors that go into the price of gas, and I'm sure that would be one of them.
And then second, because I do commute all over the place, are you able to tell me how much that South Meadows to USA Parkway would have cost? You said it was very pricey. Like, what kind of pricey are we looking at?
Was that $1 billion? It's like right around $1 billion. And one of the reasons for that is that, first of all, you've got to acquire the land, and a lot of that is private property, so you'd have to buy the right of way. There's also a lot of bridges that we'd have to build. So that one was a lot more expensive, and we're not sure if you would have the same, we don't know if you'd have enough traffic, you know, for that one compared to the north one.
Brad Conway for the record. Paul, just one more comment. On the light rail, where you said we'd have to coordinate with Union Pacific to use their railway. Fort Worth and Dallas did the same thing. I actually lived there when they did it. And it got off to a very, very, very slow start, but it took off once it did.
Is that DART?
Yes, it was, as a matter of fact. And I think part of it was, and this, I just want to give you a little background. Part of it was people really wanted to complain about sitting in traffic. But on the flip side, they didn't want to give up the comfort of their own vehicle. So kind of think about that. Once they put in express trains that didn't have any stops along the way, so they just ran end to end on the line, they were filling those things up. And it was a brilliant idea. So I think the placement of stations along the route is going to be key to your success there. Because it never bothered me. I rode DART frequently. And even when we had to pull off onto a, I'm not sure what the terminology is here, but it's like a little set of tracks that goes off on the sides. So you can let our train pass. It never bothered me. I was comfortable. I was sitting there working. I had free Wi-Fi. I was happy. So those are all things you're going to want to kind of keep in mind. I'm sure you already know this, but DART would be a great case study for you. Because they were off to a very, 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 I was actually surprised. I didn't think it was going to last, to be honest with you guys. And it had a lot of funding. I mean, Dallas and Fort Worth have more money than they would know what to do with right now. So, all right. Julia, anything from you? Any questions?
Nope, none for me at this point. Thank you so much.
Okay, then I'll forget about you. Else.
Speak. Bill Newman for the record there. Couple questions there. One, I was gonna ask about the Veterans Roundabout, but you answered that. A guy I know lives down on Toll Road, so he's amazed that it's getting paved. So he's very happy about that. Two is that micro bus there around. How do the mechanics of that? Do I call up and say, can you come over to my house and pick it up, or the charge there? You
There's
said
the-
$3 all day? So I could just ride this here within the area and just check it out?
Yeah, so if you live in that bubble,
Yeah.
you can either go on the app, so it's RTC Connect, and you can get it that way. Usually it's about a 15 to 20-minute wait time before the vehicle gets to your house. And let's say you want to go to, there's different points of interest. I didn't point those out on that map, but outside of that bubble, there were a couple of small dots. The DMV was one of them. Winco Foods was one of them. Northern Nevada Medical Center was one of them. Or I guess it's Sierra Nevada Medical Center is one of them. So there's different little points just outside of that bubble you can get onto. And it's
So
$250 a
just to
ride.
test it out, just to see how it works. I could go do that and just call up or order it there. And then what, can I have the driver wait there for me? Say, okay, now I'm ready to go home, or?
No, the driver, it's basically like an Uber. So the driver
So
will
he
pick
dumps
you up,
me off
drop you off.
in
He
the
won't-
place, and then I'm done. All right. A curiosity question. Have you guys thought about using double-decker buses or open double-decker buses along those two main routes?
No, we haven't. In fact, we used to use those long, I can't remember what they're called, truncated. They look like, you know, they have a hinge in the middle of them. Those were the original buses that we used to use, and those were actually too big. One of the reasons that we couldn't use those anymore is because that Walgreens that is above I-80 right there by the university, those buses were too heavy for those bridges. So that was one of the reasons that we decided not to use those anymore. So I don't know if a double-decker bus is any heavier than those ones are, but we don't actually need that kind of capacity.
All right, that's going to conclude business items. We do need to swing back around. Callie, if I'm not mistaken, we need to swing back around. Okay, we need to swing back around, guys, and speak about the board secretary position. Do I have anybody that would like to make a nomination or is willing to take that on for the next 3 months? It is going to be a very short appointment.
Yes, it's a trial run, so we'll revisit officer elections in January. So yeah, try out board secretary for October, November, December. See if you like it.
Callie, let's make sure we're really clear on this too.
Mhm.
So the positions, because we just voted, I'm obviously Tyler and I were just
Yes,
voted in.
correct.
We'll be able to hold our seats in January, correct?
We're going to do re-elections for all three in January.
Right, but we can still hold our
You
seat.
can be re-elected.
We can be reelected.
Yeah.
Our seats. Okay.
There's no gap needed for that.
Got it. Okay. So this is something, guys, where you have an opportunity to give it a shot. If you like it, great. If you don't, it's a 3-month commitment. and,
Right.
Callie,
And we
Callie can help
we
you out.
kind of don't have a choice. We gotta elect someone. We don't have a contracted minute taker for this meeting. If we don't elect someone, if we push it off, this responsibility might fall onto our chair or vice chair. So
Board Member Johnson, for the record, I'd like to run. I'll save you, Brad.
Are you gonna? Okay. With that being said, I'm going to do this because
Okay.
I was prepared to do this, and then you originally had said no, and I appreciate the save. I would like to make a nomination. This individual is extremely detailed. I've had in the short time I've worked with her, she's more organized than anybody I've ever met. And so for that reason, I would like to go ahead and nominate Alina Johnson as board secretary.
Can you just phrase that in a motion? You
I'd
motion
like to
to
make a
elect.
motion to nominate Alina Johnson as
Okay.
board secretary.
Do we have a second?
Tyler Henry, record, I will second.
Okay, Tyler
Okay.
Hinman.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sorry, took that from you. No? Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson, and we will try and make sure that we don't overwhelm you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you getting me off the hook on this one.
I'm excited to try it.
Try it
thank
out,
you.
and if you don't like it, just let us know. And we're all doing the very best.
Oh, I'll like it. I'm just not sure if it'll like me.
We'll find out. Okay.
It'll be fine. Thank you.
All right. So we got that agenda item taken care of. So that moves us on to agenda item D, board member reports and announcements. Does anybody have any reports or announcements? Seeing none, we're going to move on to future agenda items. So I will now open the floor to request future agenda items.
This could be something like the RTC presentation we saw today. If you know of an external agency, if you've seen any other presentations in the community you'd like to reach out and bring here.
Anybody have anything they want to see?
I'm going to go on a limb and say something very strange. It might sound really strange. I know there's a lot more to it, but more trees in South Reno would be amazing. If we could ever even just talk about it, discuss it,
We can do
I
that.
will help plant them.
Callie, is there a department that handles trees?
Yes, we do have our urban forestry department and Parks and Rec. We can talk to them about getting some information from
Yeah,
them.
let's do that.
Okay.
So let's make that an official agenda item going forward. I appreciate that. Anybody else? Any concerns from constituents we need to bring forward? Something like that? No? Julia, did I see your hand go up?
Oh, nope. I was fixing my glasses. I apologize.
No, do not apologize. All right. That brings us on to agenda item F, public comment.
I do not have any public comment registered for this item. If there's anyone in Zoom who would like to provide comment, please raise your hand. Not seeing anyone in chambers.
Okay, then we are going to go ahead and I'm going to look for a motion for adjournment.
Tyler Hinman, for the record, I move to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I second. Julie Reniford seconds it.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, guys.